Welcome to the She's Bold podcast. I'm Beth Whitman. Hey, how's everybody doing out there? As you likely know from last week's episode, I'm doing something a bit different for the foreseeable future. Normally, this podcast features long-form, in-person conversations with bold women. But that requires not only sitting down with these ladies in person, but also, I guess, just more normal circumstances when we're maybe not so distracted by external events. So I'm currently recording shorter episodes via Zoom that can provide a bit of helpful guidance as we collectively move through this trying time called a pandemic. If you find yourself struggling and you need a bit of support, the Be Bold Facebook group, and this is for ladies only, has been a wonderful way for us to encourage each other. Normally, we post the things that we're doing to be bold, but over the past few weeks, we've been posting daily the things that we're doing to stay happy and healthy right now. Now, there are some great ideas that others are sharing, so please join us there. It's facebook.com/groups/BeBoldGroup. So today's conversation is with a Doctor of Oriental Medicine, Dr. Robyn Benson. You might recall that Robyn's been on the podcast a couple of times before, and if you haven't already heard those conversations or you would like to re-listen to them, you can go back to episodes number 11 and number 50. Robyn specializes in regenerative medicine and is the founder of Santa Fe Soul Center for Optimal Health. She is really on the cutting edge of the self-care revolution, and what that means is that she encourages people to take control of their health in order to live a long, vibrant, and very much abundant life. Today, we talk specifically about things you can do to boost your immune system. Whether you are feeling great right now or you're feeling any kind of illness coming on, or yes, even if you or someone you know has COVID-19, these tips can really help you out. You may notice that the audio quality is not what you might be used to. We're recording using Zoom right now, and while I think I can improve on this a bit, you'll have to bear with me until I can get back into the studio recording one-on-one again. With that, please enjoy this conversation with Dr. Robyn Benson. Gosh, Robyn, thanks so much for being here today with me, and we've spoken previously, and
this will be our third time.
Yeah, it sure will. I know. It's so exciting. I wish it was under better circumstances, but still, this is great. I really appreciate it. What I'm hoping for listeners to get out of today's conversation is really a way for them to think about not just washing their hands and not touching their face, which is what everyone is talking about. And those things certainly are great, but I think that there's so much more that we can be doing, that we have access to, that people may not be thinking about. And I just know from knowing you and especially from our past conversations, that you're an expert in this area, really, because it's something that you talk about quite frequently. Can you give people just kind of a rundown on some things that they could be doing beyond the obvious that would really help boost their immune system and really boost their system, physically and emotionally?
I'd like to talk about free healing, and I think this is something that everyone is hearing as well, but the importance of really getting outdoors right now is essential. And if you can have access to a body of water, that would be even best. Like, put your feet in the water, a nice river that's running near your home. Going barefoot would be excellent. Just breathing in fresh air and getting outdoors, out of the indoor pollution, because most of our homes are 200 times more toxic than what outdoor air provides us.
There are some people who are afraid to do that. They are literally afraid to go outside, and they're recommending to other people not to go outside. What would you say to those folks?
I wholeheartedly 100% recommend going outdoors. no matter what, even if it's just standing outside your front door, your back door for 20 minutes a day, because getting the vitamin D, the natural vitamin D from the sun, plus we know it's good for seasonal affective disorder. It's good for nourishing our cellular being. It's good for our spirit. It's good for low serotonin, which is often found with people with depression, low dopamine. We need these good neurotransmitters highly functioning. And it really is the best antidote to a bad mood, to just waking up feeling like you're in a fog. Just get outdoors. If you have flagstone, if you have brick outside your home, go barefoot. I mean, that's also a conductor of these negative ions. And there's so much science behind it showing that it is a great antidote to the oxidative stress that's going on in our body. Not just stress, but when we also think about the degenerative events that are happening at any given time. And I would I would imagine that exponentially so now, when you couple fear with being indoors and uncertainty of these times, I mean, that's a formula for degeneration. And what we're all about, certainly at my clinic, is about amplifying, regenerating, and transforming. So that equals art. So to really tune into your artistic creativity abilities in these changing epic times, like really tap into parts of yourself that you have not even known were possible. Like my kids, my daughter in particular, I have 2 kids home from college right now, and my daughter is getting out. She's like painting. I've never seen her do that at the kitchen table. And she's like, okay, Mom, you got to join me. So I am in the process of making this gorgeous goddess. You know, she's just illuminated, inviting all of you to awaken to these dormant talents that you have. This is a great time to express those in the world. It's a really important time to dance outside. I mean, to not just hike, not just walk, but get a little pep in your step and walk backwards, whatever. But our neurogenesis is this capacity of our brain to stretch, to really open up its centers, its portals to doing something new. And gosh, with the advent of so much neurodegenerative diseases out there, Alzheimer's and cognitive decline, we got to look at other things that we could do to stretch that. I get to sneeze in it right now.
Yeah.
That was, you know what? Let's not edit that. I just want to tell you what's true where I am locally in Santa Fe, New Mexico, is it's allergy season.
Is it the juniper?
I have it so mild, fortunately, because I take homeopathic juniper, and we have this wonderful natural product that's a natural antihistamine that we love. So, and this is high season.
Thank you for the sneezes and the remedy for that. I want to just say something. This morning, I went out for a bike ride. I dusted off my bike and pumped up the tires yesterday, got my little new bell on there on the handlebars, and I went for a ride this morning. And I just tapped into these mixed tapes that I had made from the 80s, and I had digitized them, and I loaded up my iPod Shuffle this morning, and I got out on this ride, and I went for this, and I was, I'm in Seattle, right? And I'm going down this beach area near my neighborhood, and I am singing at the top of my lungs these songs. Like, there's not many people out, but there were some. And I was just like, I was dancing on my bike, just singing, to these songs.
Madonna and ABBA and all those great songs from that time.
Oh gosh, who was it? It was more like REM and
cute.
I can't even think of some of them. It was some old Katie Lang and Sarah McLachlan and that sort of thing. I've got this goddess mix that I have.
Nice, I like it.
I just had so much fun, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I feel so good. I feel so good. This was amazing. So it kind of goes with that: get out and dance, and get out and get fresh air, and just move your tushy, move your booty.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that you're an advocate for getting out. And I think you touched upon this, is that, we're inside, and in some parts of the country and in the world, the weather isn't great for actually getting outside and getting fresh air, but we're sitting inside and it's recirculated air. We're, breathing the same air. We're not getting fresh air. And then it's kind of like in our mind too. It's like we need fresh air for our mind. Otherwise, we're just recirculating those same thoughts over and over again too. So just being able to expand and get outside, even if it's on your porch, like you said, that's such a good idea. What else would you recommend to folks?
Well, in terms of indoor energy and pollution and all that, I mean, like keeping all your lights off. I mean, be more mindful of our consumption. I think this is one of the gifts of I call it the CVQ, the coronavirus quarantine, is that we get some spaciousness in our life to think about our consumptive ways. And so there's so many toxins most of us have in our homes, whether we know it or not, in terms of the cleaning agents that we're using in our washers and dryers and on our faces and cosmetics and all that. It's just like, do not even have them in your house is better. And to go online and to research. Like, we're doing a massive cleaning on my center right now. It's 4,000 square feet, and we're putting hydrogen peroxide in water into our vacuum cleaner that we have that puts moisture in and really cleans all the corners. And we're just doing deep revisioning our vision here at Santa Fe Soul, but inviting people to really take some time to look at what's around your house. Do a deep cleaning in your house. This is the time to do that. Very important. Getting back to vitamin D. So wonderful way to get it is through sunshine. But I just want to mention that in terms of your immune system, I treat a lot of patients that are outside all the time in terms of their jobs, and then they still show up when we do a blood test, that they're very low. So all of you that are listening to this who have a vitamin D level below 50, here's an opportunity to start taking vitamin D or already, but maybe up the levels, like to 10,000 IU a day. And if for any reason you feel like you're getting the virus or a virus or the flu or some type of illness, then we really recommend that you go up to 50,000 IU for at least 3 days. At least 3 days.
Can you overdose on vitamin D?
Well, if you do it just short term, you have no worries. We're talking 3 to 7 days max, and that's it. And people have to remember that vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So the best way to absorb it is through having an avocado, some type of fat, grass-fed butter are our top recommendations. Also want a big shout out for vitamin A is also powerfully antiviral. So taking about 10,000 to 20,000 IU for 3 or 4 days and on up to, some people are recommending 100,000. Right now, we have a link for people to get it through full script through us, and with all of our recommendations. So possibly find that link and give that at the end. But that's an easy thing to make sure you're taking. And vitamin C is getting a lot of headlines right now. We have, as you know, we do vitamin C IVs, 25,000 grams up to way more than that for some of our immune compromised patients. But we also have a powdered form, and we're recommending that our patients take about 5 grams a day. Very, very excellent way to have optimal levels of that powerful antioxidant. We got to remember that vitamin C is not something our bodies produce. That's why we want, certainly, I mean, nothing's better than getting it in our diet, but some of the high vitamin C foods, you can't really get in enough of the foods to get those levels up as much as you want to have them right now. So my entire family, my entire staff, everybody, I'm like, everybody has vitamin C, they have vitamin A, they have vitamin D, and zinc. I want to talk about zinc because these are things that we test. We can test vitamin C levels by doing a urine test. We test vitamin zinc by actually having people take intake about a teaspoon of zinc. And if it tastes like water, then you're zinc deficient. You do not have good levels of zinc. And let me say this, that zinc is required for about 200 enzymatic reactions in your body. So very important. And just getting 25 milligrams a day is really important. And I just want to say for your children too, zinc is something you want to remember to take with food, but it will optimize your levels and all of this. When we think about our body as this big circuitry, right? This big computer system, you get defrags when you're low on vitamin C, when you're low on zinc, and magnesium is another very important one. So I just want to mention all of those.
Yeah, those are great. One thing that, just I've kind of learned, or it's been somewhat ingrained in me over the years, is that you don't want to overdo certain things like a vitamin D or a zinc or magnesium. But what I'm hearing you say is that, and also we can't just get to a doctor right now to get lab tests, right? So that's one of the issues. But what I'm hearing is that for the short term, having something like these kind of in our toolkit is not a bad thing. And we're not going to overdose if we're, doing this for the short term until we get a better
Not at all.
handle
I
on it.
mean, no, I have rarely ever seen overdose in amounts being seen in people's blood from taking too much. There's usually something else going on. And especially when it's prescribed the way that I'm prescribing it. It's not like you're doing this every single day.
For months and months.
Right. I also want to talk about essential oils. I mean, gosh, you can get those right now at CVS. I was there yesterday. My son just had his wisdom tooth extracted. And you can get 100% lemon, peppermint, lavender for $7 a bottle. And that will last you a long time. So peppermint, behind your neck, behind your ears is really good to put in it's a great antiseptic, right? Put it in your hands and sniff it. Is so good. It just kind of talk about turning on a good mood remedy. And lavender smells so good. It's got so many properties.
I put it on my pillow at night.
Yeah, to help you sleep.
Yeah, just kind of rub it on
calming.
The pillow.
I highly recommend a diffuser. If you have one, you can get those pretty inexpensive right now too. And just putting in water and a couple drops of your favorite essential oil is fantastic. Cinnamon is very, very good right now. I would also, clove, excellent. Like if you are home with a toothache right now and you can't get into your dentist, just put some clove oil on that inflamed tooth. Highly recommended. And then working with, hand sanitizers, I'm a big believer in that. There's a lot of crap out there. I quite frankly, my entire life, I don't use many of those at all. We have every single treatment room right now. We have it everywhere. So we've got one infused with aloe and something that tests to get rid of viruses and bacteria. So I am a believer in what's going on out there. We do need this social distancing right now. Wear a mask if it does help you not touch your face. And when you happen to be around family members, I think that, again, this home healthcare revolution, we've been a big proponent of that. Having really cool gadgets like talking about a diffuser is really excellent. A nebulizer is really excellent to have.
What's a nebulizer?
A nebulizer is a little box machine that has a mask that's attached to it. Of course, a separate mask for each member of the family, but you can nebulize 3% hydrogen peroxide, glutathione. I have to be really careful about what I share. I'm not going to prescribe. I'm just giving you this information. You can go to your doctor.
I don't even know. I don't even know what nebulizing.
Basically, it's a mask with a little cup in it that has medicine. So when people have serious asthma and other lung issues, you actually can get albuterol and other prescriptions, liquid prescriptions put in it, and you breathe it in and it goes right into your lungs. So there are many different things. People also, different types of silver. Colloidal silver can be nebulized. It's just a fantastic thing to have. Again, I'm like, if I would have 10 top things that you want to always have in your home 24/7, these are some of them that I'm mentioning, like the essential oils. Definitely a nebulizer is really good. A diffuser is excellent. And we're big fans of pulse electromagnetic field technology. So having a mat that mimics the earth frequencies is excellent. Also considering these earthing sheets that you can get, these have all been around for at least 10 years, and having really good, healthy cleaning supplies would be effective.
You have mentioned a couple times that certain things are antivirals. And I want to be clear, one, that we're not necessarily saying that this is going to be an antiviral for COVID-19, but just in general, these antivirals that you're talking about, what you're saying is that that in general, they're going to help with any kind of virus that you might be fighting off.
There's
Is
actually
that right?
been true testing on vitamin D and vitamin C as being extremely effective if you actually have the coronavirus. Because what are people doing? If 98% of the population that gets this is going to have a mild experience with it, What are you going to do? To sit home and just wait for it to? These are the things that I've mentioned today that you would, if you get a positive COVID test, you want to be taking these things. And you certainly want to isolate, quarantine yourself away from other family members, have your own bathroom. All of that is really important. But yes, absolutely, these things are good for the COVID virus as well. Everything I've mentioned, pretty much. Yes.
And again, I just want to be clear to people too. You're not saying that this is a cure for it. You're saying that this is an immune system booster, or just kind of a boost to help get us healthier. Is that right?
It's an immune boost so you don't get it, but it's also effective if you do get it. Rather than, and I don't want to use the word cure, but what are you going to take? The antivirals that your medical doctor gives you are not necessarily working for this. I mean, rest is really important, but absolutely, you want the vitamin D, you want the vitamin A. If you get this, you want to go hardcore the first 3 days so it won't go into a deeper state, and cause further erosion of your immune landscape. We want to help elevate you into wellness as quickly as possible.
Right. And absolutely, given that, what you just said, it sounds like, as you recommended, we really should be doing these things immediately, even if we don't feel sick. There's no harm in it.
Exactly. For sure. I just want to say that, that if you're in a household of 4 or 6, I mean, you all want to be doing these preventative measures. And fortunately, these are some of the things that will help this in terms of, in Chinese medicine, we're really big on when something just hits you at the very first day, like, oh, I've got a sore throat. And then maybe within an hour, I've got a fever. What can you do quickly before it goes into your chest? There's layers in Chinese medicine in which an infection is deeply impacting your life. So very important. And this whole idea of electromagnetic pollution is real. Like, the more we are indoors and phones and computers, being around them all day long, the more viruses tend to fester, because our body's normal protective defenses are being impacted. Let's just say that we're being impacted by these invisible frequencies that we cannot see. So it's not surprising why are most of these, in terms of this pandemic, why is it in city areas more than it is in more rural areas? Because of all that too. People are literally like kind of sleeping on top of each other in New York City. I've got so many friends who are like, they're on the 12th floor. They got somebody above them, below them. And there's so much science and proof and people who have their own monitors that they can see, the electromagnetic pollution that's right in their environment, that's impacting their sleep and impacting the way you digest and all that kind of, you're like literally plugged in, you're getting zapped.
I think at the outset of this conversation, I was thinking that there would kind of be 2 parts to this. Things that people could do now that maybe they have access to in their own home, and then things that they could do maybe to prepare in the future if and when something like this happens again. And it's very likely that it will happen again. But what I'm really hearing is that these are all really pretty simple, and we have access to them, whether if in the area where you live, there is a CVS that's open, a pharmacy or someplace where you can actually shop, let's say, for essential oils, or of course, order these items online, and we can have pretty quick access to them. There's really no reason why we can't just start everything immediately.
It's like a new mindset that we all have to adopt, and take it seriously for today, for next week, for the rest of your life. Every single thing I've mentioned that, 24/7 you have access to would be great. And just remember the free things like being outdoors, really important. I just want to mention too, melatonin is really inexpensive, and they're showing a correlation between melatonin is a hormone, and it is something that our body produces. But again, with all this electromagnetic pollution and a lot of people sleeping with too much light at night for those 7, 8, 9 critical hours, it actually decreases your production of melatonin. But melatonin has been shown to help fight this CV.
No kidding.
Yeah, melatonin. A lot of people, I do testing on melatonin too, and a lot of people come very, very low. The more stress we have,
Do you have a recommended level that people could just take right off the bat?
Even 1 milligram is great. You mostly see, you can get it just about any grocery store, just to make sure there's no additives and colorings and crapola in it. But the typical dose that you can buy is 3 milligrams, and taking that short term is okay. Sometimes it makes people feel like a zombie the next day. Well, clearly that's too much. So cut it in half or find a 1 milligram. But this is a time for a lot of the world to be taking a little more melatonin and making sure you're sleeping with a mask at night or blackout shades in your bedroom in particular.
Right. And the melatonin, would you recommend that at night specifically?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take that on a regular basis?
It comes and goes. I even have a 0.3 milligrams. I just kind of tune in when I need it. My last melatonin, you can actually work with certain like urine labs to find out what your melatonin levels are. And mine was actually really good. So I just thought, I'm just gonna take a break. And then sometimes I will go a little bit more hardcore vitamin D, and then I kind of stop that. But the zinc is pretty much one that I almost always try to take. And the magnesium, maybe 4 days a week. I'm not in this idea that you have to take things 7 days a week on end. I just give your liver a break. We really need to, our livers are already under a lot of assaults with just the foods and the air that we're breathing and our thoughts and our hormone dysregulation. And then we just don't want to be throwing in 50 pills a day either. You can look, I've got a pharmacy everywhere I am, my home, my kitchen, everybody, they're like, good Lord, Robyn, do you take all that stuff every day? I'm like, I don't, but I have access to it, certainly. And for any of my friends, I'm like, okay, here, you might need this digestive enzyme right now. Your digestion, I just want to talk about that. Your digestive system is your immune system. I think we all are learning that more than ever, but our biome of our digestive system in many cases is going through a heck of a lot, not with just the food, but with the levels of stress, we don't tend to digest as well. And then people just go years with chronic digestive issues. And very often, I mean, I've been big on this for a long time, but very often there's some type of parasite, there's some type of bacterial overgrowth, there's giardia. We see so much giardia even in New Mexico. We see valley fever. We see toxoplasmosis, which are people who have grown up with cats can have, that can cause serious cognitive decline even in younger people. So it's good to know that, this might not be the best time to find out what's hanging out in your gut, but it's alarming what people have inside them. And then just all the Lyme disease. I mean, my gosh, that's really more of a pandemic, in my opinion, the amount of people that are suffering with Lyme disease.
And going undiagnosed, even with that.
Yeah.
Or misdiagnosed. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's debilitating. It's not just a mild case. This is like they're for months on end and years on end. Since I've worked with so many Lyme patients, it's a journey, to identify what exactly is going on, and you having to clean up the gut is like one of the most important places. Otherwise, you can put all the Band-Aids on, but you're not going to get to the depth of what's at the root of it.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point too, just to remind people that we're all home. And we're not all practicing healthy habits in terms of what we're eating too, because a lot of people aren't used to being at home or being less active even. Mm-hmm. And it's easier to go to the pantry or the refrigerator and pull something out. And it's also, it can be a lot more appealing to stress eat than go for the hummus and the carrots, because that sounds really boring and I deserve this because I'm home all by myself and I'm not used to this and I'm fearful. But it's so important now more than ever that we take care of ourselves, just like starting at that particular level, just eating better and reminding ourselves that it's going to start with that. And then we can do all these other things on top of it, because it comes back to the gut health is so quitical. And if we're just putting a bunch of junk into it, then, it may not be negating all of those great things, but it's certainly not helping the great tips that you're giving us.
No. Oh gosh, no. This is such a important time, like I said earlier, but for all of us to tune in, to get quiet. Even our kids, like have them do a yoga class with you, right? There's so much online that you could do together. Listen to a meditation every day. Like really shut out all the negativity that you're seeing on the media right now. reconnection. This is like a powerful reset for you, for every one of you. I go into my moments of like, oh my God, is this really happening? I wake up and I'm like, is this a dream or is this really happening? I think we all are at some point, but nevertheless, also been a great opportunity to do things that I would not normally do, and hours of meditation. There's some times where I just can lie down for hours and listen to beautiful music. I love the Debbie prayer. That's one of my favorite from Craig Pruitt. I mean, that music is so alchemical. Like I feel it in my cellular being. And I just think that this is a time, I think that energetically, astrologically, every which way, this has been, this time has really come. We are all living it and we get to choose. We all have this sovereignty, right, within us. We all have this incredible, impeccable way of practicing self-care right now. We take care of ourselves first to take care of others. Like really think about this more than ever. I hope this is the time to heal all codependent ways, right? We got to really that oxygen on first and up level. Like I would like to think about my consciousness is raising so much. If I go into fear, that collapses, right? And when that happens, every single cell is like clumped on top of each other. That's inflammation, right? That's suffocation. Oxygen is not getting into my cellular being, into my organs, and into my mitochondria, where I produce energy. So it's like think about expanding, like a lotus blossoming. What is your part in this lotus blossoming? The more personal, the more universal. The more you do that for yourself, the more you are going to tap into the greater universal, all that is, that unity and diversity that we are. We're all in this together. We are all, nobody's exempt by the impact of what's happening here. And there's so many blessings, as many people are talking about. Our air is cleaner. The skies are more blue than they have been in years, right? It's like, oh, thank you, universe, for giving us this opportunity. And we bless all those people that are really challenged with this right now. And what's really true in terms of all the stats that I'm keeping up with, that a lot of the people that are dying from coronavirus, they have a multitude of things going on in their body. It's not just some virus that sweeps over them. Can that happen? Absolutely. But that small percentage that are passing away, that there is a lot of other things going on in their body.
A couple of quick questions. I almost want to just leave it right there because you just really tied everything into a beautiful bow right there. And I'd love to leave it with that, but I do have a couple of other questions. Where are you getting your information in terms of the COVID-19 and what you're seeing out there in the world? Because you're not fear-mongering, you're not catastrophizing this. Certainly this is not a good time, but you are looking on the bright side and you're looking at some of the positives of this, whereas most people are not. So where are you finding your information? And do we have access to that?
Well, I think a lot of people can go to PubMed. That's a good place to look for a lot of very accurate science and information for free. The New England Journal of Medicine is a good place to go. I'm also completely connected to Dr. Hyman. Look at some of the podcasts that are out there. Dr. Ann Shippey, a very, very good friend of mine who's a mold expert in Austin, Texas, who's also doing the research. The doctors are doing the research, right? So there's a lot of great stuff. It's just like some of the flashy news that you might see in your newspaper or on your local news at night might not be the most accurate information coming out. And I would just recommend look at news of any sort once a day. How many times do you have to know the stats of how many new people have COVID-19 in your state? I mean, it's all just having this is my message. Be a screen, not a sponge. Like literally just say, okay, I'm going to read this. You screen, not a sponge. There's conspiracy theories. There's all kinds of stuff. I kind of, I've danced with it all. I've heard it all. Information, not going to let it stick. I wouldn't be a doctor today. I'm in my 28th year if I was fearful of all these things. I'm not. If I could, I'd be open right now. If I could be helping to take off the pressure that our hospital might have, because I offer vitamin C drips, because I offer acupuncture and great herbal therapies, I would do it 100%. I would do it. That's how I'm wired. I am not afraid of getting this. I am taking all the precautions like we've been advised. I mean, every single room, the whole center couldn't be more clean. We've got an ozone generator. We've got 2 air purifiers. We don't use toxic chemicals here. We did everything when we built it 14 years ago to protect it from electromagnetic pollution. We didn't use chemical paints, everything. This could be a better environment. So maybe the state of New Mexico, Department of Health will say, hey, Dr. Benson, we're ready for you. Like, we really need your help here. Mm-hmm. We also, last Friday, we had to give up any unopened boxes of masks and gloves. So we did that too.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're following. I'm just hoping that that's what will happen, where we could really help people in need. And I really feel for my patients that used to come in for their IVs that, right now we just have to basically say, unless it's an absolute emergency, this is the times we're living in.
Right. It sure is. Hey, one other question and thanks for those resources, by the way, but one other question I have just on a personal question is, do you know anything about Propolis? And is that
Propolis
something?
Is awesome. If it's, the only time I've ever really used it is 2 times. It's a serum for my face, and it's from bees. It's an extraction from bees, but it's also been considered one of the top remedies for prevention, but also if you get coronavirus. And elderberry too. Elderberry is excellent.
Elderberry. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great.
And I'm also in the world of mushrooms. The medicinal mushrooms are fantastic. Astragalus is excellent. It builds your defensive chi. That's the life force, right? It builds. So like, if you have a lot of that strong defensive chi, you're not going to get, it could be like all over you, people breathing into your face, and you're not going to get it because you have built up your defensive chi, right? And your shen, your spirit matters too. People who are hypochondriacs, I'm like, oh my God. Tap in to what are you really fearful about? I worry for those people because they're just going to attract what they're most concerned about. Seriously, I just ask you to really just get quiet and do some deep breathing. Just breathing. Oh my God, breathing's for free, right? And we don't even know how to breathe properly. But taking, 3 minutes, 3 times a day, set your watch, your Fitbit, your whatever, your Apple Watch, to remind yourself, I'm going to take 3 minutes and just tune into my breathing, because most of us are shallow breathers. We're not getting oxygen deep into our bodies in the way that we can.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of 4-7-8 breathing or 4-8
I love 4-7-8.
breathing.
That's my favorite.
It is great because I'm trying to bring my heart rate variability up and working on strengthening my vagal nerve. And that's a big part of it. Yeah. So,
yes. GABA is really good too, in terms of your spirit, in terms of the vagal tone. GABA is really excellent. And I've worked with it for the last 15 years. So you've got to really know dosage, and you got to play with it to find out what's right for your chemistry. We're living in an age of personalized, customized medicine. You are not exactly like another person in terms of what works for them does not necessarily what works for you. Big shout out for ozone too. Like people can buy their own. We do a lot of ozone in medicine here, a lot at my center. But you can get home ozone devices too.
Incredible tips. Anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to leave with folks today?
I would just say, more than anything, is just really find time to love yourself, love on you, connect to your heart, get out of your head, just really connect to your heart. What is he or she saying? What are the messages of your heart? And I love, let me see if I can remember it and recall it right. The Walt Whitman quote, "Now I know the secrets of making the best person. It is to grow in the open air and to eat and sleep for the earth." Something like that. Something very beautiful, right? But get back to Mother Nature. Get back to Mother Nature and reconnect with your why. You are a chosen one on the planet at this great awakening time. You. Take care of you.
You are a breath of fresh air in more ways than one.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. This was delightful.
I hope you'll take Robyn's suggestions to heart and work on boosting your immune system right now. They say that many people are asymptomatic who actually have the virus, so you can implement these sorts of things to ensure that these symptoms don't start showing up for you and that it gets any worse. Now, don't forget to check out episodes number 11 and number 50 to hear my longer conversations with Robyn. You can find those and all of my other episodes at shesboldpodcast.com/episodes or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. If you'd like to support the show and let me know how much you are inspired by these conversations and how much you look forward to hearing the uplifting stories from my guests, go to patreon.com/bebold. Patreon supporters get to submit questions for me to ask guests and become part of our private Facebook group, and that is ladies only. They also get access to bonus content, including questions I ask of the guest. To keep up with me and all of my travels and my running, you can connect with me by friending me on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram at both Beth Whitwa, BETHWHITWA, and Wandergal. Feel free to leave a message or question at 877-280-5170. I do love me some feedback. You can also email me at beth@shesboldpodcast.com, or you can leave a review in your favorite podcast app. Ladies, you can join the Be Bold Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/BeBoldGroup for support and encouragement for whatever ways you're trying to be bold. And you can share the ways that you are staying happy and healthy during this very trying time, or just get inspiration from others to do so. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the She's Bold podcast. And until next time, be bold.